This is the problem with trying to film the ending devlog at 12:30 a.m., huh? This is the problem. My brain is already finished. I already did all the work for today. Whoa, what's up, gamers? It is Monday, my dudes. I just finished up with work for the day, so it's time for me to really dive into what I want to work on the project. And for today, I'm thinking that I need to start addressing some of the bugs that have been cropping up. I have an issue with the poison pits where I was trying to put some in different locations on the map, and let's just say as a result of increasing the size of the poison pits, the bubbles weren't working as expected. And also, I implemented these poison pits in the first place like 2 months ago, so I'm gonna have to dive into fixing that. I've started to notice a really bad lag whenever I go into a new room, and that sucks. And I tested my level loading, room loading stuff like pretty thoroughly when I first made it, so it didn't have any lag spikes back then, so I'm gonna have to jump into some profiling and figure out what's going on. I mentioned in the previous video that I had a pixel artist who was gonna come in and start helping out with stuff, and they've officially started making art for the game, and the very first thing we're gonna tackle is redesigning Isadora. Now, I really do like the pixel art I made for Isadora in the first place. I think she looks really good, and she's like really the peak of my pixel art skill levels. I think the animations look nice, and the overall design of the character really fits what I wanted. But the problem is that it's really not that great. And the pixel artist that's helping out with the project is very, very good. And I think if they're gonna be taking over a lot of the art in the game, I still wanna make some, but if they're gonna be taking over a majority of the art in the game, I should probably have the main character fit the theme. Having a really well animated, really well fleshed out main character of the game, like protagonist, is super important. I think there was that old story about Super Mario 64 where they just made sure running around in circles as Mario was fun. And I kind of want to do that for this game. I want to make sure just running around in circles and jumping and using all the movement mechanics as Isadora feels really, really good. And so anyway, we're starting with a redesign of Isadora. They created this mock-up with a bunch of different possible posing for her and this initial design. You can put it up on the screen over here, or maybe over here, or maybe over here. Just a little fun game for editor senpai. Oh, where does the image go? I don't know why I'm doing that. But before I poison the waters with my own opinions, I want you to take a look at these different poses and tell me what you think of the different options here. We have like different sprite sizes where these top 1 through 5 are a smaller 32 by 32, and then the bottom are 48 by 48. So the second row is gonna have a lot more like expressiveness, a lot more options because it's just a higher resolution, but the top one is gonna be a little bit more succinct, feel a little bit more retro, and be a little bit easier to animate. So yeah, you should definitely go like write a comment. Let me know which ones you pick before I reveal what I think is the best. Now, in my opinion, I really love the pose from number 3. I think it fits the character perfectly. It's what I would have drawn if I was capable of it when I first designed the character. I think 3 is really good, but I like the 48 by 48 sprite size a little bit more, which is gonna have some problems for the project down the road, but I guess I'll tackle that when I get to it. And then for the second row, I really like the poses of A and C, but they're more action-y. They have a little bit more energy to them. So while they might work for like the animation before you start attacking or something, they don't really strike me as a good like standard idle kind of pose. And then I do really like E. So moving forward with this design, I think we're gonna try to merge the posing from pose 3 into the stance from E and kind of see what that looks like. And then you can see the mock-up of what Isadora might look like, and I really like the way it's coming out. I love the blue ponytail, love the outfits. I think it's coming along really nice. But yeah, let me know what you think of these choices. And I mean, there might be even more art coming later in the video, so stick around and find out. So I've been doing some profiling. There's like a really expensive integrate forces call, but I'm not using forces on rigid body 2Ds to control like anything as far as I can tell, and I don't know where all this expensive physics processing is coming from. But I do know that that is the reason for the lag spikes. Now, it happens when I load a new room, which makes me think that there's something getting loaded in that is a rigid body that uses the physics engine. I'm getting a little bit into the weeds here, but hopefully I can figure it out before the end of the day. Talking to the camera has like renewed me with strength. Maybe I can actually figure something out. I don't know. I'll talk to y'all later. All right, and we're back. And I'm a changed man. It'll never be the same. Good news, I fixed both of the bugs. The poison pits were, as soon as I turned on visible collision shapes in the debugging options, became very obvious what the problem was. Everything is not aligned correctly. Some are way too big, some are way too small, and it's just clearly incorrect. There were a few problems with this. One was the actual calculation was wrong. The other was that it was calculating the pit's width at compile time instead of runtime, which means it was using the default values instead of the values actually passed in through the inspector. But, you know, all that aside, now I can show you what it looks like actually working. You can see the collision shapes are all lined up successfully, everything looks right, and then if we go to the actual in-game with the collision shapes turned off, the pits are all correct, the bubbles are forming where they're supposed to. I still think it might need a little bit of a graphical update, but that'll come down the line. The other issue was the gigantic lag spike. That was the more pressing issue, and that was a really easy fix once I figured out the problem. I had every tile set to use kinematic. And that means when it was loading in these different rooms, every single tile on the tile map was being treated as its own rigid body. At least I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. And doing that physics call to set up every single tile was creating one frame that lasted like, 250 milliseconds to do all those calculations. All I had to do was click this off, and now the room loading is buttery smooth, baby. It's lightning fast, and it feels really good. I do feel dumb as hell because I don't know exactly how I ended up making that mistake. I don't know at what point these got set to use kinematic. Maybe I was testing collisions or something, but anyway, at least now I know what that lag spike came from, and it's good to know that the room loading is working great. But that's all I have room for in my tiny little baby brain for today, because it is late and I want to sleep. So I guess I'll talk to you peeps tomorrow, hopefully, unless I decide not to work on the game because I'm lazy. Bye-bye. What's up? Welcome to Tuesday. No, that's cringe. So it's Tuesday. I just finished up work and then had a doctor's appointment. So another late start today, but we have continued to make progress with the Isadora redesign. There are 5 designs, and each design has 2 colorations. So each column is a design, and then the 2 rows are 2 different colors. Make sure you take a look at them. Let me know what you think. Personally, I think we're moving in a great direction for the character. Now, my favorite design is A. I think the A design is incredibly good, and I really like the way the outfit looks in the second color palette, but I also really love the blue hair. I think the ponytail could be different. It could take the ponytail from D or E or something, but I really love design 1. I also like E, but I think that out of all of them, D has the strongest silhouette. It's very readable. Even from far away, you can tell everything that's happening with that character, so it would make the animations a lot better. But right now I'm leaning more towards A because I think it really fits the character perfectly. I think it's really going to add a lot to the game. But I kind of want to see what we can do to maybe streamline the silhouette a little bit more, or maybe use the silhouette from design D. But yeah, I definitely want to hear your feedback. But that aside, it's time to actually get to work. My plan for the day is a little bit rough. I might not have too much to show you because I really think the project needs a lot of reorganization. There's a lot of cruft built in from just developing it over several months and not having a lot of progress and starting as a game jam game, and then once the game jam ended, I didn't immediately try to refactor it into a new project. So I'm going to try to do a big reorganization pass to get everything cleaned up so it's a lot easier to work with. Also going to look into setting up a really basic testing level structure with a few branching paths, because so far I've been testing new mechanics in just like standalone test rooms and I haven't done any level building. I think we're going to have to do some major changes to the way the levels are set up, but anyway, I'm just going to hop into it and see what I can get done reorganizing this project. And I'll talk to you peeps later. Peace out. See ya, dorks. All right, it's past midnight and I'm very tired. But I did get a good chunk of project organization done. The main thing I did is something that I should have done a long time ago, which is I set up a Git repo for pushing all the changes to the project. That way, in case like my computer explodes, I still have the game. It's something that I definitely have needed to do for a while. I was kind of operating in risky business mode where one mistake and I lose all my work, but now that I've set up this GitHub project, I think it's going to be a lot better. I can push all the changes that I make and not lose anything, and also it allows me an easy way to kind of revert changes in case I want to see how something was in a previous state. Yeah, I should have done it a long time ago, honestly. I don't even know why I didn't. I found a really nice style guide from GD Quest on how to actually organize the project, like what kind of folders they recommend suggesting and that sort of thing, as a big part of the reorganization, not just the refactoring. I think I'm going to try to follow that mostly. My plan is to create a new Godot project and then import everything from the original Godot project into the new one. And if I don't know what something is, I don't remember what I added, or I don't see the reason for it anymore, I can exclude it. It just gives me a chance to go through everything and make sure I reacquaint myself with it a little bit, because in its current state, the project is a mess. I really should have done this a while ago, but That's probably going to continue taking up a chunk of time, but that's okay because I'm kind of hesitant to really dive into a lot of the chunkier stuff until the Isadora redesign is at least close to complete. I kind of want to have her new sprite in the game with her new running animation so that I can see how it's going to affect stuff. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to change a lot of stuff about the project settings and the resolution, so it gives me a good opportunity to take care. Speaking English is my native tongue. You'd think that I could do it, but I can't. I think having to do a little bit of a pause on the project actually is nice because it gives me that opportunity to do a bunch of housekeeping and a bunch of cleanup work that I needed to do and I've been putting off because it's more fun to make Pit of Poison and Graspy Vines than it is to set up a GitHub repository and do project folder maintenance. But since I really don't feel like I should be doing the project folder maintenance right now, my dumb lizard brain is willing to actually reorganize a bunch of folders. But yeah, it's late. I'm gonna go crash. I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll see what's next in the Isadora redesign and what's next in my folders. Ooh, exciting. It's gonna be fun. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Huh? My nose is shiny. Oh yeah, dude, when I get out of the shower, I come back in extra shine mode. I just finished up work, and with another day comes another set of Isadora redesign art. So let's throw this bad boy up. Boom! There are a bunch of hairstyles all the way from 1A to 1G, and then there are 3 different outfits, row 2, row 3, and row 4, and each outfit has several different color varieties and slight different changes in the design of the outfit. So before I tell you what we're leaning towards and what we might go with, here's another opportunity for you to build your own. Pick the hairstyle you think is best, the best outfit with the best colors, and you can just continue adding to that one comment that has a bunch of different pieces of Isadora redesign feedback on it. But I'm very partial to the third hairstyle, 1C. I feel like it calls back to the original character sprite a little bit. I mean, you can see Isadora's head versus the new Isadora's head, and they both have that pointing up ponytail. And also, I think it really makes the character stand out a little bit more. I think this hairstyle feels a little bit more unique, and it lends itself to a much more interesting character silhouette because the top is going to have that one pointy bit instead of just a ponytail like you've seen in 100 million different character silhouettes. As for the outfit, I love 2B. I think 2B is just gorgeous. I love the red armor, I love the purple cape, I love the way it looks when you put 1C's head on it. I really love that character design. Now, I've gotten a lot of other feedback, like I'm the main fan of 2B, but I think as we continue moving forward with the character design, we run into that problem where all the designs are pretty cool, and it becomes more and more difficult to meaningfully discern between them. So I'm trying to lean towards the design that I feel like is the most like Isadora's character and matches up with her backstory. And I haven't shared too much of that yet. It'll come in good time. And so that's been another fun day of iterating on Isadora's design. As for what I'm going to do after this, well, I need to continue on with the project organization. And then I also want Isadora to be able to find armor upgrades kind of hidden throughout the levels of the game, you know, like how they do it in Mega Man. And I really want these armor upgrades to give the player more options as opposed to just, you know, default make you stronger. Like the armor upgrade that makes you take 50% less damage, yeah, it's going to feel good and it's going to be strong, but it's not interesting. You know, I want to grant the player like a little bit of extra movement or another movement option or another way to approach combat, so that by finding the armor upgrades you improve your arsenal, and by improving your arsenal you feel stronger and you get better at the game, so that when you're fighting tough enemies near the end you're using all the skills in your skill set to crush them as opposed to just being able to like hit them for big damage. One of the potential armor upgrades I was thinking about would be either for the sword or for the gloves or something that gives you like a charging attack where you can charge it up and then do like a bigger sword slash, you know, very similar to Mega Man's charge attack. I really want to make sure I consider how it's going to actually interact with the gameplay before I add that in. So I'm going to try to do some design work and figure out what kind of armor upgrades that I could potentially want for the character. So project organization, armor upgrade stuff, and then I might start implementing the new movement engine into the new project if I have some time. I think since we're getting all these new animations for Isadora, we definitely need to redo the movement engine, and I've probably mentioned this before, but you know, I've been rambling long enough. I'm going to actually get to work, and I'll talk to y'all later and let you know how it goes. Peace. And I'm back. I spent some time doing organizational stuff, and then I spent several hours just watching playthroughs of some old platformers that I think are really good, and just taking notes. And I was mostly interested in how they interacted with upgrades and mechanics, and which kind of mechanics opened up interesting options to the player. And then from watching some of those old games, there were 2 mechanics that really stood out to me that I think I could take heavy inspiration from for my game, and not just steal them. The first one that really stood out to me as interesting was in Mega Man X3. You get a boot upgrade that lets you do like an extra little hop after you jump. So it's kind of like a limited double jump. It's not as powerful as a regular double jump, but it really does give you some more movement options. You can reset the momentum during a jump arc and avoid stuff as you're falling through the sky, and maybe reach up a little bit higher so that you can actually get over an attack that you would have otherwise gotten hit by. This kind of little boost is really, really nice as like an extra option that the player has in their pocket when they're actually doing the combat. And I think that that makes a lot of sense to be Isadora's boot upgrade. The other upgrade, I think I would call it her cape upgrade. I'm not entirely sure on that. But when I was watching some Symphony of the Night and listening to their banger soundtrack, I remembered how playing the game, I just backdashed everywhere. I just loved backdashing. You just do a little moonwalk slide. Seeing that backdash gave me the thought that a similar style of backdash would be an interesting addition to Isadora's kit. And I think it also opens up some interesting combat where if you want to keep wailing on the boss, you don't want to lose this opportunity, and something's about to hit right where you are, you can backdash because it's very, very fast and then continue attacking. So I think that gives me 3 interesting armor upgrades that I'm pretty happy with. A glove upgrade to charge your sword, a boot upgrade for the air boost, and then a cape upgrade for the backstep. I feel like I'm in a fever dream of trying to make progress on this project. It feels good that it's actually like progressing at a reasonable rate and lots of stuff is getting accomplished, but I am going a million miles an hour pretty much all the time. Well, what are you gonna do? I didn't get a chance to really dive into rebuilding the movement engine, so that's on the back burner for now. That might be more of a weekend project than trying to do it after work. I'll go into the rewrite of the movement engine more when it's actually like taking place rather than talking about it now. I think that's good for my update for tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Get ready for more Isadora updates. You don't have to use this part, that's whatever. It is Thursday. I finished up work a little bit early today, so I have more time to actually make some progress on the game, but I think this is finally a good opportunity for me to dive into the movement engine rework. I'm also going to need to figure out what we're doing resolution-wise, because previously the game was running at 480 by 270, and the main character sprite was 32 by 32. But now we're going to be increasing the character sprite to 48 by 48, which means we also need to increase the resolution of the game, otherwise she's suddenly going to be huge on the screen. I think that 640 by 360 is going to accomplish the goal of making her feel right resolution-wise. She's going to take up a slightly larger percentage of the screen than she did previously, but I'm definitely going to need to test that out and make sure it feels right, and then I'm actually going to start reworking the movement. In the previous version of the game, it's just calculating velocities and applying those to the player, and it's really just not the best way to handle it. The movement code is all kind of jank, so I want to try implementing it with like straight up forces that get applied to the player to handle their movement rather than just like setting the player's velocity. I think the result is going to be that it feels much better to actually move around playing the game. Also, right now Isadora has a dash, and I want her to keep the dash, but I want it to feel a lot different, and I just can't get the dash to feel good at all with the current movement engine. So prioritizing making that dash feel good with the new engine is going to be pretty important. Right now, Isadora has no concept of like wall hugging and hopping off of walls, which is something that I definitely want to be in her movement kit. So all that stuff is going to go into the movement engine redesign, and I'm hoping I can make some really good progress on it today because it needs to get done, and I want it to be ready for when we actually get some of those new animations so we can test them out right away. And also because I am a little bit bored with reorganizing the project. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna go get to work. I'll talk to y'all later, my dudes. Peace. What's up? I'm back. Didn't go too hot. I was hoping to be able to show some cool new movement stuff by the end of the day, but it just wasn't coming together. I was getting caught on a lot of stupid mistakes. Just a lot of like head empty, brain tired kind of moments. It's been a bit of a long week, I suppose. Honestly, I was just hesitant to make any kind of like real implementation decisions. I couldn't figure out exactly where I wanted to put certain structures, how I wanted to handle input, how I actually wanted to figure out where I'm calculating the movement, where to apply it. Trying to rewrite it in a better way means I actually have to figure out what the better way is, and it's just not coming together tonight. At least tomorrow's Friday, so we'll be done with work for the week, and I can take another crack at this in earnest. Hopefully make some more progress next time, but while I was watching stuff and trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the movement, I did have a chance to talk to a couple friends of mine, and there are a few more concepts that I might be able to work into armor upgrades. One was taking inspiration from the hover boots from Ocarina of Time. Those are really cool, and I think there could be a cool way to implement those into an armor upgrade. Another is a spot dodge for projectiles that makes you stronger. So if a projectile is about to hit you, you can pop what is essentially a counter and absorb it, which will make you deal a little bit more damage for a while. It incentivizes the player to try to take a hit and like absorb it to deal that extra damage. So now I have 4 or 5 armor upgrade mechanics that I think could potentially be pretty good. I think one of the best pieces of feedback I'll get from this video is people's opinions on those armor upgrades and what kind of things they want to get when they find a secret upgrade in the game. So at least today wasn't a total wash. Made some progress on the armor upgrade design. Gotta come back to this tomorrow. Good night, everybody. What is up, my guys, gals, and NB pals? It is Friday. Woo! Just finished up work for the week, and I'm ready to really dive into getting this movement engine rewrite done. It's probably going to spill into tomorrow, but I'm really earmarking tonight and tomorrow for getting this done. Especially don't have that much time tonight, since on Fridays I take my partner out for a date night. So that's going to take up a big chunk of my time. So I probably won't be able to get this finished, but I'm at least hoping to make some progress, and maybe I'll even have something to show you. And speaking of things to show you, nice segue shuffle, is more of the Isadora redesign art. Boom! Editor senpai! Display it for me! As usual, I'll give you a chance to look it over before I sway your opinion with what I think. But in general, I really like the designs on this page. Now, I think the bottom row, row 5, is really cool. I especially like 5G, but it doesn't really feel like Isadora to me. It feels very like warrior battle princess type, you know, like I'm the leader of my barbarian crew. And I also really like 5B, but this feels like, you know, RPG girl just like got away from her farm and now she's running an airship. I think my favorite design on this design sheet is 2D. I really love the way the suit looks, the red feels really good, and the scarf looks really cool. Plus, I think it'll really make for some nice exaggerated animations where, you know, you're running and jumping and the scarf is flowing in the wind. So I'm really hoping we can take the best aspects of all of those designs and merge them together into what's gonna be Isadora. Also, we have some perspective swords. I do like the kind of teal, cyan, bluish color to the sword, and I think these updated designs for the sword look really cool with all the different like odds and ends and bibs and bobs. I think that those swords are something that I'm really going to need your input directly, viewer. If you can leave a comment with what you think about these swords, that would be really sick, because I like them all. I like all these designs, but I don't have any strong feelings and I haven't thought about it too much. So that's something that I definitely want to incorporate the feedback into pretty heavily. But yeah, I'm going to get to work and also going to take my partner out for a nice dinner. So I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces, peace out, bye-bye. Oh, when I hold my hand here, I cast a very funny shadow on my face. Oh, I'm a dog. Yo, 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 it's Saturday. So, today is going to be dedicated to reworking the movement engine. At least that's the plan. I am going to run to IKEA at some point to pick up some stuff for remodeling my balcony. So that's going to take up some of the day, but the rest of it's going towards the movement engine, and hopefully I'll have something to show you by the end of the day. So I'll see you tonight. Peace. What's up? I have a plant now. The IKEA trip and balcony reorganization took longer than I expected. I made some pretty good progress with the new player controller that I'm trying to write up to replace the old really shitty one from the game jam. I mean, you can control the character. Editor senpai, feel free to throw up this horrible, horrible demo of what it looks like right now. Because more than just getting it working, like I could have it working in, you know, an hour or two if I wanted it to just like be slapped right in there the super simple, like straightforward way that I did previously for the game jam. But I really want to make sure everything is properly structured and well architected. And so I'm trying to split the state machine management into its own component, as well as having the physics run in its own component and having all the animation controlling running in its own component. So trying to keep everything in its proper place is really difficult, especially starting from like an empty project like this before I start dragging in new stuff. In other much more exciting news, we have the next stage of the Isadora redesign. You can see there are 8 options here and then a bunch of different swords held along the bottom. Now go ahead, take a look at them, decide what you like before I spoil everything by saying that I'm pretty convinced that 3B is the right way to go. 3B just feels like it combines all the great aspects of all the other designs, and when I look at that design, I think, oh, that's her, you know? Not like, oh, which ways could it be like her? This is missing. It's like, oh, I'm like, oh, that's Isadora. So I think that that's the one I'm going with, unless the feedback to this video is like extremely indicative to go another path. I'm pretty sure that's the direction we're heading, but again, if you have some strong opinions on the design here, feel free to chime in. It's like 2 a.m. because I stayed up fiddling with the state machine stuff for a while, so I'm pretty tired. I think I'm gonna go head to bed and I'll look at this again fresh in the morning and see if I can untangle everything in a way that's really satisfying. Yeah. Night, peeps. And you'll be able to see what happens in the morning in the next video. Thanks for watching the channel. I appreciate you. If you don't mind dropping that like and comment and subscribe while you're down there. Thanks.